Okay, welcome back, everyone. We did have a closed session earlier today that there will be a bylaw being read at the end of this agenda, as part of this agenda, forgive me. But I will first go over to, before we get started, we will go over to Councillor Strength for the land acknowledgement statement, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. We would like to begin today's meeting by acknowledging the first peoples who, for thousands of years before us, were and are still the keepers and caretakers of this land, where we now live and work, and in particular, the Chippewas of Rama, Wata Mohawk First Nations, and the Moon River Métis. We are dedicated to honoring Indigenous history and culture and committed to moving forward in the spirit of reconciliation and respect with all First Nation, Métis, and Inuit people. We recognize all the generations of Indigenous people and their historic connection to this place. We are grateful for the opportunity to gather here at this time. Miigwech.
Okay, thank you for that. I did just want to note that Councillor Morphy is joining us virtually today. And before we get started, I just wanted to recognize that tomorrow is Pink Shirt Day, and so Council has participated in that today, and obviously that is in support of those who are bullied, excluded, feel like left out, and that there's no place for that in municipal politics or around this council table or in this this building at all. So thanks for participating in that. Thanks for the suggestion, Councillor Robinson. And with that, I do want to also recognize, because we won't have an opportunity until mid-March, to say congratulations to our Canadian athletes who have certainly done us proud at the Olympics. We know that there are some medals coming our way to Muskoka Parry Sound, most notably a gold and a bronze from Megan Oldham in Parry Sound, and so we wish her very much congratulations and are cheering her on from Gravenhurst, our neighbor. So with that, I will start our agenda today. This afternoon, there are two public meetings scheduled for two zoning bylaw amendments. Application number ZA01-2026 for DaCosta. Application number ZA03-2026 for Rubinato and Gowland. The Planning Act requires that a public meeting be held before council decides to pass a zoning bylaw amendment. The public meeting serves two purposes. First, to present to council and the public and the details and background to the proposal, and second, to receive comments from the public and agencies before a council decision is made. I will briefly summarize the procedure to be utilized for the public meeting. The Manager of Planning Services, Adam Ager, will advise council as to when, how, and to whom notice of public meeting were circulated. Staff will then advise of the purpose and effect of the proposed bylaw zoning amendment and provide any additional information that is relevant to the application. Staff will further summarize any correspondence on file. From there, the applicant will be requested to make a presentation, followed by questions or presentations from the public, either in favor or against the proposal. Council will then have the opportunity to question the applicant, staff, or anyone giving presentations. The proposed zoning bylaw amendments will then be considered by council later this afternoon. If anyone from the public in the council chambers would like to request notification of the decision of any application, please complete the form provided on the table at the back. I will now ask the Manager of Planning Services, Adam Ager, to advise how, when, and to whom the notice of the public meetings were circulated.
Notice of the public meetings concerning the proposed zoning bylaw amendments were sent by first-class mail to the respective owners and assessed persons within 120 meters of the properties subject to the proposed bylaw and emailed to applicable agencies. Included within the notice was an explanation of the purpose and effect of the proposal, a site plan, and a key map showing the location of the property in accordance with the requirements of the Planning Act RSO 1990, Chapter P13. The public notices for the zoning bylaw amendments were also posted on the town's website under planning notices on the planning department page.
It is important to note that should council pass any bylaws this afternoon, there is a 20-day appeal period during which time the applicant, the municipality, and certain public bodies, as defined by the Planning Act, may appeal the decision of council. During this appeal period, no building permit may be issued or work commenced. Also, in the event there is an appeal, and in order to be kept advised of the possible Ontario Land Tribunal hearing, members of the public must request and be sent a copy of council's decision on the application. Public meeting number 1, I now declare this portion of the meeting to be a public meeting to deal with the application number ZA01-2026. I will now ask the Manager of Planning Services to please summarize the purpose and effect of the proposed bylaw and provide any additional information and correspondence relevant to the application.
Thank you, Your Worship. The subject property is located on Wellington Street. The property is designated urban residential area in the Town of Gravenhurst official plan and is zoned residential 1. The property is located on the end of Wellington Street on a cul-de-sac in a residential area of town. There's an existing single-story dwelling that contains 3 units, an accessory shed, and a gazebo. There is also an attached garage as well as a paved driveway that is sufficiently sized to accommodate 4 on-site parking spaces. The application was submitted in order to permit 3 dwelling units, which includes 2 additional residential units on a property that is not serviced with municipal water and sewer. The zoning bylaw requires that full municipal servicing for more than 1 additional residential unit. Although the property is not fully serviced, it is located in the urban residential area and a future service area. At such time as municipal services are extended, the 3 units would be permitted as of right. In communications with the District of Muskoka, there is no indication when the property and the others on Wellington Street may be fully serviced despite the surrounding higher density in existing and proposed development in the vicinity. For a dwelling unit with 2 additional residential units, the zoning bylaw requires parking space for each additional residential unit and 2 parking spaces for the dwelling for a total of 4 spaces. The driveway in its current layout can easily accommodate the 4 required parking spaces. In this instance, because the lot is not fully serviced, the test would be to make sure that it can be appropriately privately serviced. In that regard, the chief building official had no objection to the proposal. However, they did note that there is no permit for any apartment in this building and that an application was submitted in 2019, but the permit was not issued due to a lack of information. Building permit application with proper drawings from a qualified designer is required, and all work must be completed to the 2024 Ontario Building Code standard. The Deputy Chief Building Official also provided a comment that a septic designer and installer will need to provide daily flow calculations for each unit, and septic upgrades may be required. The infrastructure technologist, Fire and Emergency Services, Parks and Trails Technician, Deputy Treasurer, and the District of Muskoka all had no objection to the proposed application. Excuse me. So here's a servicing map for council's information. Any property that's in red is fully serviced. Green is no service, so that's just providing you context of what we're dealing with here. You can see this is a unique situation at the end of Wellington Street where those 4 lots are not serviced, but everything in the surrounding area is fully serviced with water and sanitary systems. This is then a look into the property. You can see the gazebo on the left-hand side, and then also a forested property to the left is 530 Muskoka Beach Road, which is currently approved for 22 townhouse units. So just for context, again, we're looking at 3 units in this building right beside 22 approved units. So from a compatibility concern, this would be in character with the area. Then looking to the neighboring property, you can see the neighbor here. Again, this proposal isn't changing what you're seeing on screen. The dwelling, as you're seeing, is going to remain the same. The units are already there, they need to be recognized, and building permits need to be obtained. So it's not tearing what's down and building anew. What you see at the street right now is what will remain. And then on the right-hand side, I'll just draw your attention to the flag on the right-hand side, just for context, so you can kind of see where we are. Moving down the street, now standing at that flag looking back, you can see the water tower, and then the dwelling is here. You can see on the other side of the street, there's currently no development. And then standing in the end of the cul-de-sac, these are the townhomes in the Lugan subdivision. So again, an increased density in the area and fully serviced. So in staff's opinion, the proposal's in keeping sort of with the context of urban development and infill development. And this is just one more shot then looking into Lugan, the single detached dwellings, moving into the townhomes. As detailed in the staff report, it's staff's opinion the application is consistent with the provincial planning statement, conforms to the intention of the official plan, is appropriate and represents good planning. Staff are recommending the application be approved, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that council may have.
Okay, thank you. I will now ask for the applicant or their agent, if they're attending in person, if they'd like to make comments. Okay, hello, come on up. Hello, everyone. Just introduce yourself.
Bree Smith, I know some of you here. Really, not much to add. He pretty much said it all. It's just been put up to code. Basically, what happened was a copper pipe had blown. So when that happened and it flooded the basement, that's when we just revamped it with all the updated stuff that needed to be done at that time. Since I lived there, now this is going to date myself a little bit, but back in the mid-90s, close to 2000s, and since, between myself and my families have most lived there, that's always been the way it's been set up. We literally just revamped, made it newer with better piping, better structure, and it's ready for when systems do come in place for sewer and such. It's already ready, they just need to connect, so.
Great. We just do need, the clerk just whispered, we need your full name, please.
Oh, my apologies. Bree Hilma Smith.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you.
Resident or? Yep.
I'm the representative on
Okay,
behalf of Terry
perfect.
DaCosta.
Agent. Okay, great, thank you. Okay, so stick around if there's any questions. Are there any members of the public here that wish to address this? Okay, seeing none. Council, are there any questions for our planner or the applicant? Nope. Not seeing any? Okay. Mr. Egger, I had to flip this page to the script. Are there any recommendations you wish to bring to the attention of council as a result of these proceedings?
Your worship, staff would recommend the application be approved.
The bylaw will be considered by council later this afternoon. If there are no further questions, then I declare this public meeting to be concluded. Public meeting number 2. I now declare this portion of the meeting to be a public meeting to deal with application number ZA03-2026 for Ruben Otto and Gowland. I will now ask the manager of planning services to please summarize the purpose and effect of the proposed bylaw and provide any additional information and correspondence relevant to the application.
Thank you, your worship. The subject properties are located on Pine Lake. We're looking at 2 properties here, being 162 Pine Lake Road and 1062 Pine Lake Road and 1064 Pine Lake Road. The properties are both designated waterfront area in the town of Gravenhurst official plan and are both zoned residential waterfront RW6B. 1062 is the property on the right here for your reference, and 1064 is the other property subject to this application on the left-hand side. So I'll highlight 1062 first. So existing structures on the property include the dwelling with attached decks that lead to a dock and separate 2-story boathouse, a garage, shed, and inclinator with associated structures that are subject to the application. The garage and shed are located near the road in a level area with a large parking area. The property then slopes steeply down to the dwelling, which is located very close to the water and is accessed both by stairs and the inclinator. There are also mature trees along the lot lines. Otherwise, the property is relatively open. Although development on this property would not be permitted under today's standard, MPAC information indicates that these structures were constructed in the mid-1950s and are now considered legal non-complying. 1064 on the left-hand side, again for your reference here. The existing structures on the property include a small dwelling, a shed, and a dock with shoreline decks. The property is heavily treed. So the application before you this afternoon is a zoning bylaw amendment that was submitted in order to recognize the reduced lot area from the proposed retained lot 1064. That would be this lot. And to recognize the reduced setbacks of an inclinator and associated ramps and a winch house on the resulting enlarged lot at 1062 on the right-hand side. So this application was submitted alongside a concurrent consent application, which was conditionally approved at the Committee of Adjustment earlier this month. A condition of consent was that the resulting property configurations be appropriately recognized through a zoning bylaw amendment. What happened was an inclinator was built on the Gowland property on the right-hand side, to which both parties were aware of the construction and thought it was all occurring within the boundaries of that lot. However, after a recent survey, it was determined that the inclinator actually encroached into the Rubinato lot, and so a consent application was submitted in order to add a small piece of land from the Rubinato lot to the Gowland lot. As a result, the Rubinato lot would be considered undersized and need to be recognized for its lot area, and the Gowland lot needs to recognize the setbacks for the inclinator structures and setbacks to the now new lot line. With respect to agency comments, the Deputy Chief Building Official requests the Rubinato, the retained lot, that the septic system needs to be shown on a plan, including side yard setbacks, the proposed new lot line. The infrastructure technologist, fire and emergency services, parks and trails technician, deputy treasurer, and the District of Muskoka all had no objections with the proposed application. Moving on to site photos, excuse me. This is the Gowland lot. The benefiting property, this is the garage and large shed in the parking area. This is then moving down into the lot. You can see the survey stakes here in the snow. That shows the proposed area of the lot addition. You can also see this small structure here. That's actually the winch house for the inclinator. This is then moving to the access ramp towards the severed lot. The Rubinato dwelling in the distance, you can see through the trees, so well separated at this point. This is then looking down the stairs, the inclinator, and you can also again see the survey stake here to the left and the inclinator there at the dwelling. That would all be added now, so the entire encroaching structures would be contained within one lot. This is then looking back up to where that photo was taken in the winch house. And then this is a view of that inclinator. Then turning to the neighboring property, you can see they are well buffered and separated from each other. So it's staff's opinion that the proposed lot addition and the new lot configurations won't have any adverse impacts. And again, the area in question here is right here. It has no water frontage implications or really implications for the space between the two dwellings. As a result, staff's opinion that the application is consistent with the provincial planning statement, conforms the attention of the official plan, is appropriate and represents good planning. As a result, staff are recommending that the zoning bylaw amendment be approved, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that council may have.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Egger. Is the applicant or agent here that would like to speak to this? Great, welcome. We just need your name and,
Good afternoon. Chris Bunker of TA Bunker Surveying. We act as agent for actually both property owners. I don't think I really have anything to add, but I'm here if you have any questions. Okay?
okay, thank you. Are there any members of the public who'd like to speak to this application? Okay, council, any questions? Okay. I have a quick one. What would happen if, I mean, it sounds like these are good neighbors to one another, and so it's a, you know, there's some mutual respect there, which is a good news story. We like when the neighbors work it out together. What would happen if they didn't? They'd have to take it down. Is that right? Like if they built it on their property and it wasn't, they didn't do this? Or I guess, and also, what would happen if nothing happened? It wouldn't, until it exchanged hands, then that's when it would sort of find itself probably on title insurance or something?
Yeah, great question. Thank you, Your Worship. Through you, in this case, fortunately, it was a positive situation. In this case, the neighbors, when they had a good working relationship from the onset, they thought they were building it on their property. They both agreed to where it was. If they weren't in that position, you know, this application probably wouldn't even be before you today, because technically the neighbor that's experiencing that encroachment had to be the one to actually make the consent application because it's their property. So they willingly had to agree to give up a piece of their property to give to their neighbor. So right then and there, they already had to come to a place of, you know, cooperation and compromise and agree on which piece was appropriate to give up, and then jointly enter into the zoning bylaw amendment together to recognize both. There's a zoning bylaw for both pieces of property. So this is a good news story, in which case it's working out for everyone involved. If that wasn't the case, then yeah, you're absolutely right. At the time of purchase and sale, if one of the properties were being sold, it's something that would probably get caught through that, and we might just be here under different circumstance.
Okay. Like I said, good news story. I like it. I like it when the neighbors can figure it out before they get to us. That's a bonus. Okay, so, is there a recommendation you'd like to make, Mr. Agar, based on these proceedings?
Staff would recommend the application be approved.
The bylaw will be considered by council very shortly this afternoon. If there are no further questions, then I declare this public meeting to be concluded. And before we go into the bylaw stage, it is moved by Councillor Morphy, seconded by Councillor Robinson. Be it resolved that report number DEV 2026-18, Shore Road Closure 01-2026 for Poldy, Severn River be received for information, and that council hereby declare the following lands as surplus: the original Shore Road allowance, OSRA, designated in front of Concession 1, Part Lot 28, Plan 15, Lot 2, Lot 3, in the former Township of Morrison, now in the Town of Gravenhurst, District Municipality of Muskoka. Were there any questions on this, council? Pretty straightforward. Okay, seeing none, I'll call for a vote on that. And that carries, thank you. Okay, now we're doing bylaws. Okay, so it is moved by Councillor Karen, second by Councillor Hunter. Be it resolved that the following bylaws be read, passed, and engrossed into the bylaw book. Bylaw number 2026-08, zoning for DaCosta, Wellington Street. Bylaw number 2026-09, zoning, Rubinato and Gowland, Pine Lake. And bylaw number 2026-10, lease agreement, Gravenhurst Train Station. Any further discussion on any of these items, council? Okay, seeing none, please vote. And that carries, thank you. And we're wrapping it up quickly today. Very efficient, thank you. It's moved by Councillor Johnston, second by Councillor Jorgensen. Be it resolved that the minutes of the council meeting dated January 27th, 2026 be approved as circulated. Any comments on that, council? Okay, please vote on that. Oops, thank you. And is moved by Councillor Morphy, second by Councillor Robinson. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2026-11 to confirm the council meeting held on February 24th, 2026 be passed. All in favor? And that carries, thank you. And I need a motion to adjourn. Councillor Strength and Councillor Hunter. Please vote. And that's a quick one. Great. Thank you. Have a nice evening, everyone. Oh, Councillor Johnston? Well, we are adjourned, so Councillor Johnston?
Yes, excuse me, Your Worship, if I might, I'd just like to take 2 or 3 minutes, if I could, to expand on your good synopsis on bullying. I just think I'd like to, as I said, expand on that for 2 minutes and provide some personal context about why that issue is so important to me. Could I do that?
I'm actually going to go to the clerk because we don't, it's, yeah. Okay. Sorry. Okay, Counselor Johnston?
It's okay? Yeah? So I just want to say, bullying's not just something that happens in schools. It's the misuse of power to intimidate, isolate, or humiliate another person, and its effects can last for years. It damages confidence, mental health, and a person's sense of belonging. But we also need to recognize that bullying behavior, if ignored, grows up. It shows up later in workplaces and online spaces and even public life. A community that tolerates bullying weakens itself. Standing against bullying is about shaming people. It's about setting a clear standard. In our community, strength is not intimidation, and disagreement does not require disrespect. If we want a resilient, healthy society, people must feel safe to participate and speak. Tomorrow is symbolic. Our responsibility is ongoing. Let's stand with those who are bullied and help those who bully learn a better way. And a further 45, 60 seconds, Your Worship, I'd just like to provide some personal context about why I feel so strongly about this and why I wanted to say what I just did. Growing up in Gravenhurst, I was bullied for years. In public school, in high school, and in my first year of university. I was given a very disparaging, degrading nickname when I was in public school. Because I was much younger than everyone else, because I was not as tall as everyone else, because I was not of any significant weight. And I tried to overcompensate this by working very hard to develop a higher level of intelligence. But sadly, that worked against me because that only made things worse. The bullies said I was trying to show them up in class, and the bullying only intensified. The good news is that because of the bullying that I experienced in my youth, I have spent my entire life, my entire adult life, trying to be the best that I can be in everything that I do. So there was a good result from that, but as I said, I have some very personal context in being bullied, and that's why I appreciate, Your Worship, the opportunity to say that. Thank you.
Well, thank you for sharing that. That's courageous to do, so thank you for sharing that. So we appreciate your insight there. Okay, so with that, we will